beautiful fields, the smell of freshly turned dirt, watching the sunset over the trees, farmers may have one of the best seats in the house. But at the mercy of Mother Nature to send the rain, what can farmers do to ensure there is a crop to harvest, food in our fridge, and on the menu at our favorite restaurants? Irrigation and water conservation are at the top of the list for both farm business and environmental sustainability. Join us as we listen to the story from the farmers inside the tractor, the land stewards themselves. You may be a little surprised as they tell the story of cultivation and conservation, the real conversation.
So I was going to ask JD about these moisture sensors. So we've used some moisture sensors in our irrigated fields the past couple of years and have kind of gotten the feel of them, but I feel like you've got a lot more experience using them firsthand and even consulting and stuff too for other farmers. I was just, I've seen a lot of benefit from it, just knowing when and especially when not to water, and so you can save a lot of water, obviously, but then it costs money to run a pivot because it takes electricity to drive those wells and stuff, and it gets expensive. But so there's multiple ways that it saves us. But can you tell us a little bit about your experience with them?
Yeah, we've used them, and I'm the same way. It's nice to know when you get a 4-inch rain, our soils are pretty prone. We can soak up water pretty fast because they're sandy here, and in some parts of the country they can't. Mm-hmm. And but even in this, so we get a big rain here, a lot of it runs off because it comes especially if it comes fast. And it is nice to be able to know okay, how much of that water actually went into the soil and how long is it going to stay there? Because with those things, you can actually see how fast the plants are pulling that water, and it is interesting to see that. It's also interesting to see, like you say, when to water, because it does cost money, and I think that wraps back to our whole being sustainable. Okay, it costs money to run that. We don't want to just turn it on just because we got it. I think that's irresponsible from an environmental standpoint and from an economic standpoint.
Well, aside from the fact that not only are you wasting water and electricity, you can actually hurt yourself.
Yeah, you can actually hurt yourself.
You can reduce your yield by watering it too much or watering it when it don't need to be watered or off. We've done that.
Have y'all used any of the stuff like with the updated pivot boxes that you can sync with your phone?
Awesome. Well, we just bought 4 because Valley was running like a deal where you could get it was way less than half off, and we bought them too because we were figuring okay, there was one farm that was across the river, it was 13 miles from our shop, and so if you were working anywhere off from that farm, you had to drive over there, check on the pivots, and we'd check on their older pivots. We'd check on them 3 times a day. But you get over there, it'd take you 20 minutes to ride over there, and by the time you kind of rode down the field, make sure everything was good, you'd be spending at least an hour if nothing was wrong. But if the well had shut off or the pivot had stopped and it's still watering right there, we were figuring, it was killing, every day during winter between me and my brother, we were probably killing 5 hours per day, that you could be doing something else, and not to mention just the fuel just to drive back and forth all the time. So we actually just bought those to convert them because and having the automatic well shut off, because that was another thing that would happen was when the pivot was stopped, there was no pressure trend and nothing to shut the well down. Mm-hmm. So that pivot might be sitting there for 3-4 hours just watering, which is wasteful.
Mm-hmm. And it also makes a mess.
Yes.
Right. Hey, but knowledge is power. So now, if it goes off, if you have a problem, the automatic shut off doesn't work or something, you got it on your phone, so you know right then what's going on. So you can cut off the well and the pivot. Not to mention if you have rain that comes up there, your moisture sensors are telling you that, or radar or whatever, you can shut it down. That's really cool.
It's nice.
These farmers really do care about what they do, and it's so encouraging to see that they want to do what's most sustainable for the environment, their people, and their business. For all you do, we thank you. Join us next time for another segment on cultivation and conservation, the real conversation.